What the fuck is going on YouTube? We are back with another video here today. Another road back to 1,000. We got out to the course a little later. We had to go do something this morning. We had to go to the post office and pick up the package for Holly, and so we got out to the course a little later, but it's all good. It's just a chill day. I got to take a shit anyway, so there's so many people over by the porta potties and stuff that I'm like, fuck, dude. I'm like, my shit's bubbling up in here, so it is what it is. Had a fun time yesterday with the practice round. We just were chilling around, and then I came out here later that afternoon and putted. We had a fun putt game with me, Luke, and Maria. I wish I could have filmed that. You guys would have fucking loved it, dude. It was hilarious. Me and Luke were like kind of missing putts from this one spot, and Maria's just like, that's a lot of missing going on over there. And me and Luke are like, well, what's up then? Come on, because we just started a new game, and I went and he went, and then if there was a third person to go, it was their time to go. And so she talked shit literally right when she could have went. And so she gets up there and she gives it a go, and she almost dead centers the first one out the rip. Honestly, it was kind of nasty, but then they beat me. I get knocked out. It is what it is, and then they go into a fucking heated like not like they were mad or anything, but they were just battling, like boom, boom, back and forth, hitting putts, back and forth. I'm sitting there watching, and Luke's just laughing the whole time. He's like giggling because Maria's talking shit, and I'm like, Luke, job's not done. Lock it the fuck in. Just kind of referring back to this one time at Lake Marshall when Luke won a Disc Golf Pro Tour event. He was sitting there after, I think it was a 3-day event. After day 2, we're chilling out. We're chilling, having a good time, like celebrating because one of our boys is on lead card. And Luke's sitting there. He's saying, God, guys, I'm really happy with how I've played. Like, I'm just real satisfied with what I've done this weekend. I'm just glad I'm glad I've done my job. I think that's what he said. He's like, I'm just glad I did my job this weekend. And I'm like, I looked at Luke while we were sitting there. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about right now, Luke? Job ain't over yet. You got a whole nother round tomorrow that you got to go fucking shred in. Like, go out there and fucking win this bitch. And we went from like, partying, oh, having a good time, fucking partying, and to like, Noah, you're fucking right. Noah, you're fucking right. What the fuck am I thinking? And you could just tell that he had this switch that switched in his head that fucking just kept, you could just tell, like, it went from he was satisfied to now that I took all that food and I made him throw it all the fuck up. He's hungry now. Like, you could just see it in him. Like, he went from being satisfied and full to being a hungry fucking dog off of one statement. And that's just, hey, Luke, job's not fucking done yet. Let's go. And so that was one of my favorite memories I ever have with Luke, just because it's like, I mean, I'm not saying I helped him win the tournament, because he was going to go out there and execute no matter what. I can guarantee it. But I guarantee that he would have had he would have had that realization on his own, probably, like, job's not done yet. I just kind of helped him get there a little quicker, Shout out Corey Ellis. He's one of my boys out here. Motherfucker's nasty, though. He's nasty at throwing, putting, everything. And you could just, he's just always been so disgusting. He literally does 3 steps and fucking throws like 600 feet almost every time. The reason I mentioned Corey is because I was watching some coverage out at over in that like New Zealand. I don't know where they're at exactly. I think it's New Zealand or wherever the Lord of the Rings was filmed. And yeah, I was watching that coverage, and I watched Corey. He was putting, man, and I just kind of got inspired by a little bit from his stroke, and I was like, I've been trying some stuff out, and I've been really loving it. It probably doesn't look any different than any stroke I ever bring to the table, you know, like you tell yourself that you're doing stuff differently up here, but in reality your stroke looks so similar all the time. Like, it's kind of funny. I've been thinking about making a cue board or a cue sheet, or maybe like a cue, maybe like I was thinking about maybe doing an online thing too, like making it to where like it's an online program, not program necessarily, but just like a thing where you can go back in and click like whether it was a cue or not, right? So like, what I mean by when I say like, is it a cue or not? You know, I'm thinking in my head, when I think of a cue, I think of a quality. We used to do it in baseball. It was called cues. They were quality at bats, right? Since shit, fucking ass, couldn't have moved it. All right, we're going back right here. Yeah, cues is just, it was a thing we did in baseball because you only succeed 3 out of 10 times, right, in baseball. And 3 out of 10 times in any other sport, you're probably not going to be a fucking pro. Let's be honest. If I hit 3 out of 10 20-footers, I'm not making any coverage. I'm not cashing anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm not making this putt, if I'm not making that putt, then I don't think you're going to be cashing. So it's like, baseball was such a weird sport because you only succeeded a very low, like a failing grade is fucking one of the best players in the world in baseball, right? So 3 out of 10, you're a Hall of Famer type shit. So it's like, it was, we developed this board called cues, right? Quality at bats, right? Because batting, you only succeed 3 out of 10 times. So you can't base your success off of whether you hit it or not, because if you do that, you're less than 50, dude. You feel like you fucking suck, right? And so that's like the mentality that I've been trying to bring into every throw and every putt in disc golf, right? Is almost make like a cue, make a cue board, right? So like, if I go through these steps within my cues, right? So my cues could be like, make sure your angles, make sure you got the right angle, right? So like, if I'm trying to throw it through this gap, you know, on hyzer, I want to make sure I'm running up in the right direction, good angle. I want to make sure I know exactly what disc I want to throw, and I want to make sure I know exactly what power I want to put on it, right? And if I go through all that, and I go through all those cues, right? Because this is going to be a quality throw and a quality putt, right? If you want to do a quality throw and a quality putt, no matter what, that not necessarily they have to go in. I think this is where you're going to get those quality reps from. Is like, no matter what happens, to get a cue, okay, you just have to go through those steps before, and no matter what happens, it doesn't matter, right? So if I go through all those steps beforehand, if I pick out my target, pick out my angle, pick out my power, I breathe. That's a big thing, is breathing, right? If you're not breathing out here, dude, you're gonna be an amateur for the rest of your life, I feel like, dude. Like, I can't stress on how important getting a deep breath in is to you guys. yeah, I just can't express with how important a nice deep breath is. I like getting one before I settle into the putt, and then while I'm putting, I like to get one more, right? Just to kind of knock off those, they're called endorphins, I'm pretty sure. It's like this pressure that builds up in your like sternum. It's like right below your chest, right above your stomach, like right in this little area right here. This pressure will start building up, and the only way you can knock that off is by you know, bracing down like you have to take a shit. That helps knock it off, like right. That helps knock it off. And then deep belly breaths, right? Not everybody, you know, if you guys don't know about breathing, you can, you see how my chest went up right there? That's a deep breath, but that's with your chest. How you knock off the true endorphins, and the best way is with big belly breaths for some reason. I'm not sure what the difference is in science behind it. I feel like I need to do more research on that side, but this is just all my dad's read over the years in baseball psychology books, and he's just kind of fed me this information. And I truly believe it's good. You know, if you don't believe in what you're doing, then you need to switch it up and start believing. So big belly breaths. You go inhale as much as you can almost, and then after you inhale, give it one more quick inhale. So it's an inhale, quick inhale, and then exhale. And if you do that, that knocks off all the pressure and all those butterflies that you can feel built up, and it'll just help you execute more. You know, kind of knock off all that stress and stuff. Yeah, so that's like my last step in the cues, right? So if I pick the power, I pick the angle, I pick the run up, right, and I pick the disc right, and I feel like, I breathe, and I feel like I did all those steps correctly. If I truly feel like I went through all those steps consciously, and picked out every single step, I believe that is a quality of throw, right? No matter what happens, like after you pick out the angle, after you pick out the power, after you pick out the frisbee, after you pick out where you're going to run up towards, after you do all those steps, you've won. You have won. That is a quality throw no matter what happens, as long as you keep a good mindset, a positive mindset, and focus on what you need to execute. If you do those things, every single throw and every single putt, right, you're going to win the overall battle of the round, in my opinion, most of the time. I'd say the majority of the time, as long as you don't, you know, get down on yourself or anything crazy. Yeah, so that's what I'm been thinking about, wanting to create, like, I guess I just thought about creating like an app. I think an app would be a pretty good idea, or because everybody's got a phone, right? Maybe creating an app, or maybe just creating like I guess just anything, creating a system of this to where other people can apply it to their game, right? Because I truly believe, like, if you go through all the steps and you try your hardest, right, I think that's where it comes into play. Is like, I hate when I don't feel like I'm trying, like when I just went through the motions, like I just stood up there and I just throw it, fuck it up. That pisses me off the most, because like, why didn't I take my time? Why didn't I pick out a spot to aim at? Why didn't I tell myself I'm gonna throw it, you know, 30% power with like a nose up flat angle right at that little stick right there on that branch right there, and then let it fade in, you know? It's like, being that specific is going to go a long way than just kind of getting up to stuff and going off of like feel, you know, just going off of whatever you're feeling. Because if you're only going off of whatever you're feeling, what if you just miss 10 putts in a row? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not going to be feeling fucking anything. So what are you going to have to sit back on? You're going to have to sit back on that routine, right? You're going to have to sit back on those cues, right? So like, how would I make this putt? If I just missed the last 10 putts, I'm gonna sit here and I'm not gonna be like, I'm not gonna think like, oh God, oh no. You know, I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna go through the steps that I need to go to. So I'm gonna line up my body correctly. I'm gonna pick a fucking chain link out. I'm gonna breathe, and I'm gonna throw it towards the, you know, to the basket. I'm not gonna put it too hard. So those, if I do all those things correctly, no matter what happens after I let it go, it was a good putt. It was a good throw, right? Because I tried my hardest to go through each step, right? So I went through each step and I tried my very best to execute the shot. And you can't control it after you let it go. You've done everything in your control to try and help you succeed. So after that fact, it's over with, right? So that's where the Dr. Bob Rotella comes into play, is to gain control of your game is by giving up control, right? By knowing that you don't have control over the disc or the ball after you hit it or throw it, knowing that you don't have any control over it after that, and you've done everything you can to prepare for that shot during the week, during the day, during the second. You've done everything in your power to succeed in that shot. As long as you've done every step and you didn't forget, like, oh man, I forgot to throw that at 80%, you know, like I just kind of got up here and threw it as hard as I can, or you know, threw it like 50%, you know. Instead of telling yourself you did that, knowing what you want to do specifically before you go and do it is going to help you guys tremendously. I'm telling you, cues, quality throws and quality putts, cues. If you guys worry nothing about cues, I'm telling you, I think your games will go, it'll shave strokes off. I promise you. If you guys do worry nothing about but cues, you don't worry about what happens during the shot, during the putt, you don't worry about none of that. All you worry about is the cue, right? The quality of setup, right? Before your shot and before your putt. So like I would go, I'd take a deep breath, and I would line my right foot up almost on the, like, inside, not too far right of the basket, but like just like center right. So I'd line my right foot up like center right of the bucket. I get a deep breath. Okay, I get one practice pump. Okay, I pick a spot, so I'm aiming for a chain link, about center pole, maybe like barely right of the center pole. I'm picking a chain link out, and then I'm throwing it. For me, I don't like putting too hard, so I'm throwing it to the basket. And so if I feel like I do all those steps, like no matter what happens, if I miss the putt, if I make the putt, it doesn't matter, because I tried my absolute hardest to make that putt. So that's where I get at. You know, I think that's where my success is coming at these past couple weeks, is I'm not worried about missing. I'm not worried about pass. It's not a pass fail, right? It's never a pass fail kind of thing. Like, am I gonna pass this or am I gonna fail it? You know, like, oh God. You know, it's not like a pass fail kind of deal. It's more of a learning process. You know, you wanna learn, and you wanna talk through stuff, and golf is an interesting game, guys, for sure. Like, I definitely wouldn't trade this game for anything else in the world. It's just a different mental side. I think it's going to set you up for life. You know, not only is it going to set you up for your rounds of disc golf, but it's going to set you up for life too. You know, I feel like disc golf is very good in that aspect. You know, it challenges you just like life does. I'm gonna just shut up and kind of show you guys the stroke just for a little bit here, for maybe like 5 minutes. Yeah, that's pretty much the stroke for this weekend, guys. That's the stroke. That's the mentality. Just no matter what happens, as long as it's a quality throw or a quality putt, that's a win in my book. And so if I win every single shot, like mentally, with that quality kind of aspect, I feel like I've won the round no matter what score I've shot. If I stay mentally focused and in there on every single shot, I have won the round, in my opinion. Like, I feel like I've won the round. It doesn't matter what I've shot. If I stay in there mentally and go through the cues, I personally feel like no matter what happens, like I could literally miss so many putts, but if I truly stick to it, like I did at Tallahassee first day, like, dude, Tallahassee first day was a fucking struggle bus, dude. But I just kept doing the cues and kept sticking with it and just kept going. Somehow I pulled like a 1 to 2 down out of my ass off of just the worst putting performance ever. And that's because I didn't give up. I kept a good mindset, and I kept trying to get the cues and the cues and the cues and the cues and the cues. Yeah, that's the stroke today. I'll show you guys one more. Felt good. We'll clean it up though. It felt good. That's all that really matters, is like, it feels good. I feel like I know where it's going. yeah, that's the stroke. I'm kind of feeling good about it, feeling confident. Yeah, I mean, a little nervous, but I think that's a good thing. It's good to be nervous. It's where it's what I want to be. I want to be nervous. This is where I want to be. If you're nervous, it means you're exactly right where you want to be, you know. But I guess you'll know if it's a good nervous or a bad nervous. So today is a good nervous. So I'm gonna get some more putts up. Don't want to drag the video along too long, but yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Yeah, maybe I'll do another video. I don't know. But yeah, that's it for today. I'll see you guys in the next one. Finito, day 60. 5, 8, 6, I don't know, 66, 5, 6, 7, 8. One of those days. I gotta look and check. But yeah, it was a good time. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.